There comes a moment, usually quiet, usually ordinary, when your body tries to tell you something important. Maybe it happens in the morning, when you go to stand up and your legs feel heavier than they should. Maybe it happens at night, when sleep won't come and your heart feels like it's beating just a little too hard. Maybe it's something you've been brushing off for months, a small sign, an easy thing to ignore. But here's what most people over 60 never realize. The body doesn't shout. It whispers. And those whispers, those small, easy to dismiss signals, are often the most important messages your body will ever send you. After the age of 60, certain warning signs carry a weight they simply didn't carry before. Not because aging means something is wrong with you, but because the body's way of communicating changes. What felt minor at 40 can mean something very different at 65. And the people who pay attention to these signs early, they're the ones who stay active, stay independent, and stay feeling like themselves for years longer. Today, we're going to talk about 7 of those signs. 7 things that are easy to overlook, easy to explain away, but that doctors quietly watch for, because they matter more than most people ever know. You don't need to be afraid, but you do need to know this. So stay with me until the end, because by the time we're finished, you'll understand your body in a way that could genuinely change how you care for yourself from this day forward. Now, let's start with something that millions of people over 60 experience every single day, and almost none of them take seriously enough. Your legs feel heavy, your feet are a little swollen by evening. You sit down after a short walk and think, well, I'm just getting older. That's normal. That's just how it is now. But here's what nobody tells you. Swelling in the legs and feet, especially when it appears regularly, especially when it gets worse as the day goes on, is not simply a sign of tiredness. It is your body telling you that something in your circulation is struggling. And circulation, after 60, is not a small matter. It is the foundation of almost everything. Your energy, your organ health, your ability to heal, your ability to think clearly. When blood and fluid don't move the way they should, they pool. They collect in the lowest points of the body. And what starts as puffiness around the ankles can quietly, gradually, become a sign of pressure on the heart, the kidneys, or the veins themselves. This is warning sign number 1. And most people walk past it every day without a second thought. Now, the second sign is one that people almost always blame on something else entirely. You wake up at night to use the bathroom. Once, maybe twice. You tell yourself it's the tea you had before bed. You tell yourself it's just age. And maybe sometimes it is. But when nighttime bathroom trips increase suddenly, when they go from occasional to every single night, your body is trying to flag something deeper. The kidneys work harder at night when circulation slows. The bladder becomes more sensitive when the nervous system is under quiet stress. And certain heart conditions, ones that go undetected for years, actually reveal themselves first through this exact pattern. Most people never connect the two, but now you will. Warning sign. Number 3 is one that even active, healthy-feeling people experience, and it's one of the most commonly misread signals of all. You feel fine during the day, you move around, you manage the house, you walk to the shop and back, but by mid-afternoon, a heaviness settles over you. Not sleepiness exactly, something heavier than that, a kind of fatigue that sits behind the eyes and in the chest at the same time. You sit down in your chair, maybe with a cup of tea, and the thought of getting back up feels genuinely difficult. This kind of fatigue is not laziness. It is not weakness of character. It is the body's way of telling you that something is spending energy that should not be spending it. Inflammation, circulatory strain, blood sugar fluctuations, early thyroid changes, all of them create this exact feeling. All of them are manageable when caught early. All of them become far more complicated when ignored for years. And here is the part that stops most people cold when they first hear it. This kind of afternoon fatigue, the deep, heavy, hard to shake kind, can precede more serious health events by months, sometimes longer. The body is not broken. The body is asking for attention. The people who listen at this stage are the ones who avoid far more difficult conversations with their doctors later. But fatigue, swelling, and nighttime disruption, those are only 3 of the 7. The next ones are quieter, easier to miss, and in some ways, far more important. Let's talk about something that happens so slowly, most people don't even notice it's happening at all. You used to walk to the end of the street without thinking twice. You used to climb the stairs at home and arrive at the top feeling normal, but somewhere along the way, quietly, gradually, that changed. Now there's a shortness of breath that wasn't there before, a slight tightness in the chest on the way up, A need to pause at the top of the stairs that you didn't need 5 years ago. And you told yourself, this is just age. Everyone slows down. This is simply what 60 feels like. But here's the twist that changes everything. Breathlessness that appears during light activity. Not a run, not heavy lifting, just climbing stairs or walking across a room, is one of the most underreported warning signs in people over 60. Not because it's rare, because it feels so reasonable, so explainable, so easy to accept as normal aging that it slips past without a second look. What it actually signals, in many cases, is that the heart is working harder than it should to deliver oxygen to the body, or that the lungs are losing elasticity faster than expected, or, and this is the one that surprises people most, that the blood itself is not carrying oxygen efficiently. A condition called anemia, which is surprisingly common after 60, creates exactly this feeling. Persistent, low-level breathlessness, fatigue, a strange paleness, and it is almost entirely correctable when it's caught. This is warning sign number 4, and it is hiding in plain sight in millions of homes right now. Warning sign number 5 is stranger, more unexpected, and when people hear it, they often go very quiet. Have you noticed changes in your handwriting? Has anyone mentioned that your voice sounds slightly softer than it used to? Do you sometimes feel a faint tremor? Not dramatic, not alarming, just a subtle unsteadiness in the hands when you reach for something? Most people dismiss this immediately. They say, I'm just tired. My hands are cold. I slept on my arm funny. But subtle changes in fine motor control, in the steadiness of movement, in the precision of small tasks, these are the nervous system's early language. The nervous system does not announce its struggles loudly. It adjusts, compensates, and quietly signals through the smallest movements of daily life. A pen held differently. A cup lifted with slightly more care than before. Buttons that take a moment longer to fasten. These are not signs of inevitable decline. They are signs of a system asking for support. And the difference between catching this early and catching it late, that difference is enormous. Now, warning sign number 6. This one lives in the mouth, and almost no one connects it to the rest of the body. Bleeding gums. Teeth that feel looser than they once did. A mouth that feels dry more often than it used to. Most people treat these as dental problems, something to mention to the dentist eventually, when there's time. But the mouth is one of the most honest windows into systemic health that the body has. Chronic gum inflammation is now directly linked to cardiovascular disease. A dry mouth that persists can indicate blood sugar dysregulation happening silently in the background. Loose teeth in older adults have been connected to bone density changes that extend far beyond the jaw. The mouth is not separate from the body. It is the body. And what shows up there first often shows up elsewhere later. This is the part where most people sit up a little straighter, because they realize they have been looking for health warnings in the wrong places, waiting for dramatic symptoms, waiting for pain, waiting for something undeniable. But the body rarely works that way after 60. It speaks in subtleties, in small shifts, in quiet, persistent, easy-to-rationalize signals that accumulate over time until one day, they are no longer quiet at all. There is one warning sign left. Number 7. And it is the one that people find most surprising, most uncomfortable, and most important of all. Warning sign. Number 7 has nothing to do with your legs, nothing to do with your heart, nothing to do with your breathing or your hands or your mouth. It has to do with your mind, not in the way you're thinking, not the dramatic, frightening kind of cognitive change that everyone fears. This is quieter than that, more subtle, more personal. It's the moment you walk into the kitchen and completely forget why you went there. It's the name of someone you've known for 20 years that suddenly takes 10 seconds longer to arrive. It's the feeling of reading the same paragraph twice because the first time somehow nothing stuck. It's a slight haziness in the late afternoon, a mental fog that wasn't there before, that lifts by evening and leaves you wondering if you imagined it. And here is where the twist comes, the real one. Most people fear these moments because they think they know what they mean. They think it's the beginning of something irreversible, something to hide from family, something to quietly worry about alone at night. But here is what the research actually shows, and what most people are never told. The majority of cognitive changes experienced by people in their 60s and early 70s are not signs of irreversible decline. They are signs of a brain that is under-supported, a brain that is not getting enough deep sleep, A brain that is mildly dehydrated because the sense of thirst weakens significantly after 60, and most older adults are walking around in a state of chronic low-level dehydration without ever feeling thirsty. A brain that is operating under low-grade inflammation that has been building quietly for years. These are not sentences, they are signals, and here's what makes this warning sign the most important of all 7. The brain controls everything else on this list. It regulates circulation, it manages the nervous system, it governs sleep, digestion, immune response, and emotional resilience. When the brain is not supported properly, when it is dehydrated, inflamed, sleep-deprived, or undernourished, every other system in the body begins to feel it. The swollen legs, the breathlessness, the fatigue, the unsteady hands, the troubled sleep, they are not always separate problems with separate causes. Sometimes, more often than doctors have time to explain in a short appointment, they are one story, one body sending one message through 7 different doors, and the message is not, "You are broken." The message is, "Pay attention, now," while there is still time to respond. Because here's the final truth that this video was always building toward. The people who live well into their 70s and 80s with energy, clarity, and independence, they are not simply lucky. They are not genetically blessed beyond the rest of us. What separates them, more than almost anything else, is one habit. One quiet, consistent practice that most people never develop. They learned to listen to their bodies before their bodies had to shout. They took the swollen ankles seriously at 62 instead of waiting until 68. They mentioned the breathlessness to their doctor at the first stare that felt hard instead of the 10th. They noticed the fog, the fatigue, the small tremor, and they did not explain it away. They brought it into the light. That is not fear, that is wisdom. And now, you have it too. You walked into this video with 7 signs you may not have known to watch for. You're leaving it with something far more valuable than a list. You're leaving with a new way of hearing what your body is already trying to tell you. Take care of yourself. Not out of fear, but out of respect for everything your body has carried you through. It has been trying to talk to you for a long time. Today, you finally listened.